My name is Celeste Vaughn. I'm 39. Last Tuesday at 2:47 p.m., I was standing in the mortgage broker's office on Clearwater Avenue when the loan officer looked up from her computer screen and said the 6 words that made my stomach drop through the floor. "I'm sorry, but you've been declined." I stared at her. "That's impossible. I have an 820 credit score. I've been checking it for months." She turned her monitor toward me. The number glowing on the screen was 487. "There's been some mistake," I said, but my voice sounded far away. "That's not my credit report." "It's tied to your social security number," she said gently. "There are 17 open accounts here. Credit cards, personal loans, a car loan from 2019. Total outstanding debt is $85,347. My hands went numb. "I don't have 17 accounts. I have 2 credit cards that I pay off every month." She scrolled down. Wells Fargo, open March 2018. Chase Sapphire, open June 2018. Discover, November 2018. Capital One. Stop. I could feel my pulse in my teeth. "I didn't open those accounts." "Then someone has been using your identity," she said, "for at least 6 years." I drove home in silence. My hands shook so badly I had to pull over twice. When I finally walked through my apartment door at 4:15 p.m., my phone was ringing. It was my father. "Celeste, Barbara wants to talk to you about Thanksgiving." I sat down on the floor. "Dad, something's happened. Someone stole my identity and—" "Can this wait? She's standing right here." Before I could answer, Barbara's voice cut through the line. Sharp, certain, the way it always was. "Celeste, we need you to bring the sweet potato casserole this year. Lisa's doing the turkey, and I simply don't have time for sides." "Barbara, I need to talk to Dad about something important." "Oh, here we go." I could hear her sigh, the kind she reserved for when I was being unreasonable. "Everything's always so dramatic with you, isn't it? Can't you just be normal for one family dinner?" Something in me cracked. Someone opened 17 fraudulent accounts in my name. I just found out I'm $85,000 in debt for things I never bought. Silence. Then, "Well, that's what happens when you're careless with your information. Kenneth, I told you she was irresponsible with money." My father's voice, distant. "Celeste, we'll talk later." The line went dead. I sat on that floor for 40 minutes. Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now and what time is it there. Let me take you back 11 years to when I was 28 and my mother had been gone for 3 years. My father married Barbara 6 months after Mom died. Too fast, everyone said, but no one said it to his face. Barbara came with Lisa, who was 24, beautiful, and had never worked a day in her life, because, as Barbara liked to say, some girls are meant to be taken care of. I was not one of those girls. But before Barbara, before Lisa, before everything fell apart, there was Trust Anderson. He wasn't related to us by blood, but he'd been my mother's best friend since college. After she died, he started showing up every Sunday with groceries and terrible jokes. He smelled like sandalwood and old books, and he was the only person who remembered I existed. One Sunday in July, he took me to lunch at Rosie's Diner on Maple Street. I was picking at a piece of lemon meringue pie when he said, "Your mom made me promise something before she passed." I looked up. "She made me promise I'd watch out for you, not interfere. She was specific about that. She said you needed to figure out your own life, but watch and step in if things ever got dangerous." "Dangerous how?" He smiled, but his eyes were serious. "She worried about your dad remarrying too quickly. She worried about someone taking advantage of his grief." He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "So I'm watching, little star, and if you ever need me, I'll be there. Even if I'm not here anymore, I'll find a way." I didn't understand what he meant then. I wish I'd asked. The first betrayal happened 3 weeks after my mother's funeral. I came home from my shift at the community college bookstore to find Barbara standing in my mother's bedroom, holding Mom's jewelry box. The antique one with the mother of pearl inlay. "This belongs to the estate now," Barbara said without looking at me. "Kenneth and I are married. Community property." "That was my mother's," I said quietly. "She left it to me. It's in her will." Barbara snapped the box shut. "Your father said I could have it. Didn't you, Kenneth?" My father was standing in the hallway. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "The will isn't finalized yet," he said. "And Barbara's right. Technically, everything is community property now." "Dad." My throat felt like it was closing. "Mom told me those were mine. The jewelry, the gemstones, all of it. She had them appraised. There's documentation." "Documentation can be updated," Barbara said smoothly. She walked past me, the jewelry box tucked under her arm, like it had always belonged to her. "You're young, Celeste. You don't need $100,000 heirlooms. You need to focus on getting your life together." I stood there, my face burning so hot I thought I might pass out. My father cleared his throat. "It's just jewelry, Celeste. Your mother would want the family to stay together." But we both knew that was a lie. Over the next 6 months, I watched Barbara systematically erase my mother from the house. The paintings came down, the furniture was replaced. Even the garden Mom had spent 15 years cultivating was torn out and replaced with decorative rocks. And the jewelry? I never saw it again. I asked my father about it once, 2 months later at Sunday dinner. Barbara's response was immediate. "That again?" She set down her fork with a sharp clink. "Celeste, you need to let this go. It's not healthy to be so obsessed with material things." "They were appraised at $185,000, I said. "That's not nothing." "Appraisals can be inflated," Lisa chimed in from across the table. She'd been living with us for 4 months by then, rent-free. "Maybe your mom just wanted you to feel special." I looked at my father. He was cutting his steak, eyes down. "Dad?" "Barbara's family now," he said finally. "What's mine is hers. Let it go, Celeste." I stopped going to Sunday dinners after that. My friends started pulling away around the same time. I didn't realize why until I ran into Marissa Chen at the grocery store in October. We'd been close since high school, but she'd stopped answering my texts in September. "Marissa, hey." She looked uncomfortable. "Oh, hi, Celeste. I haven't heard from you in weeks. Are you okay?" She shifted her grocery basket from one hand to the other. I've been busy." "Is something wrong?" She glanced around like she didn't want to be overheard. "Lisa told me you've been having some problems, financial stuff, and she said you asked her for money and got really aggressive when she said no." The air went out of my lungs. "That never happened." "She said you'd deny it." Marissa looked genuinely sympathetic. "Look, I'm not judging. Everyone goes through hard times. But I can't lend you anything right now, okay?" "I never asked Lisa for money. I never asked anyone. I really need to go." She hurried past me toward the checkout. I stood in the cereal aisle for 5 full minutes, trying to breathe. That's when I realized they were spreading rumors about me, making me look unstable, desperate, dishonest. And it was working. By November, I'd lost 3 more friends. My cousins stopped inviting me to family events. Even my father's sister, my Aunt Diane, who'd always been kind to me, started keeping her distance. I checked my bank account on November 18th. I had $847 to my name. I needed to find work, real work, not just bookstore shifts, so I did what I'd been doing as a hobby for 2 years. I opened an Etsy shop. I made handmade candles at first, simple soy candles with dried flowers embedded in the wax. I sold 6 the first week, 12 the second week. By December, I was making $300 a week, which wasn't much, but it was mine. My manager at the bookstore, Helen Wu, was the first person to actually ask if I was okay. "You look exhausted," she said one afternoon when I came in for my shift. Are you eating? I almost cried. I'm fine. You're not fine. She handed me a $20 bill. Go get yourself lunch. Real food, not vending machine chips. I can't take this. It's not charity. It's an advance on your paycheck. And Celeste? She waited until I looked at her. Whatever you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone. I went to the bathroom and cried for 10 minutes. The public humiliation happened on a Saturday in January. I was at the farmer's market on Oak Street, selling candles from a folding table I'd bought at a thrift store. I'd made $83 so far, which felt like a fortune. Then I heard Barbara's voice behind me. Well, well, is this what you're doing now? I turned. She was standing there with Lisa and two of her friends from the country club. All four of them were dressed like they'd just come from brunch. Designer handbags, perfect hair. I'm running a business, I said evenly. Barbara laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. Oh, sweetheart, selling candles at a farmer's market isn't a business. It's a hobby for people who can't hold down real jobs. Her friends smiled. One of them picked up a candle, sniffed it, and wrinkled her nose. Cute. Lisa leaned in, lowering her voice just enough that only I could hear. You look desperate, Celeste. It's embarrassing. Something hardened inside me. Not anger. Not yet. Just a realization that these people would never see me as anything but less than. I didn't respond. I just smiled and turned back to my table. Celeste. Barbara's voice was sharp now. I'm talking to you. I know, I said. I'm working. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she turned to her friends. Let's go. There's nothing worth looking at here. As they walked away, I heard one of them say, Poor Kenneth. His daughter's become such a disappointment. A woman who'd been browsing my candles looked at me sympathetically. Don't listen to them. I won't, I said, but my hands were shaking. 3 days later, I found the first clue in the mail. A credit card statement addressed to me, but for an account I'd never opened. The billing address was my father and Barbara's house on Crescent Hill Drive. I called the credit card company immediately. I didn't open this account. The account was opened in March 2018 using your social security number and date of birth, the representative said. The billing address has been Crescent Hill Drive since inception. Who's been making charges on it? I can't disclose that without proper authorization, but I can tell you the account has a balance of $8,942. I hung up and sat very still. Barbara had my social security number. She'd filed my father's taxes every year since they got married. She had access to everything. I wanted to call my father. I wanted to scream. But something stopped me. If I confronted her now, she'd deny it. She'd turn it around on me. She'd make me look crazy. I needed proof, so I ordered my credit report, all 3 bureaus. It cost me $45 I didn't have, but I needed to know. The reports arrived 4 days later. I opened them on my kitchen floor and felt my entire world tilt. 17 accounts, all opened between 2018 and 2023, all tied to my social security number, all with billing addresses at Crescent Hill Drive. Total debt, $85,347. I traced the charges. Luxury purchases, designer handbags, a trip to Paris in 2020, a car lease for a Mercedes, registered to Lisa. They'd been living off my stolen identity for 6 years. I called my father that night at 9:42 p.m. Dad, I need to talk to you, in person. It's important. Can it wait until Sunday? No, he sighed. Celeste, Barbara, and I are watching a movie. Dad, someone stole my identity and opened 17 accounts in my name. I'm $85,000 in debt. The billing address is your house. Long silence. That's a serious accusation. It's not an accusation, it's a fact. I have the credit reports right here. I'll talk to Barbara. Dad, I said I'll talk to her. We'll handle this as a family. He hung up. I didn't hear from him for 3 days. When he finally called back, his voice was cold. Barbara says she has no idea what you're talking about. She thinks you might be confused or trying to deflect from your own financial irresponsibility. Dad, the accounts are at your address. Barbara suggested you might benefit from talking to someone, a therapist. She knows a good one. My vision blurred. You don't believe me. I believe you're going through something difficult, but accusing Barbara without evidence. The credit reports are evidence. Credit reports can have errors. And frankly, Celeste, you've been acting erratic lately. Maybe you did open those accounts and forgot. Stress can do strange things. I hung up without saying goodbye. That's when I knew. He'd chosen her. He'd always choose her. The settlement offer arrived in April. A formal letter from Barbara's attorney, Martin Kessler. Dear Ms. Vaughn, my client, Barbara Williams Vaughn, wishes to resolve the ongoing dispute regarding certain inherited items. In exchange for your agreement to cease all claims related to your late mother's jewelry collection and other estate assets, Mrs. Vaughn is prepared to offer a one-time payment of $5,000. This offer is contingent upon your signing a full release of all claims and a non-disclosure agreement. The offer expires in 14 days. $5,000 for $185,000 worth of stolen jewelry and $85,000 in fraudulent debt. I read it 3 times. Then I threw up. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Celeste Vaughn? Yes. My name is David Matsumoto. I'm an attorney with Hawthorne and Associates. I'm calling on behalf of the estate of Trust Anderson. The room tilted. Trust, when did he... Mr. Anderson passed away 6 weeks ago. I apologize. The family has been handling arrangements privately, but Mr. Anderson left specific instructions regarding you. Would you be available to meet tomorrow at 2 p.m.? My office is at 847 Riverside Boulevard, Suite 300. What kind of instructions? I'd prefer to discuss this in person. Can you make it tomorrow? I looked at the settlement offer on my table, at the credit reports, at the stack of bills I couldn't pay. I'll be there. I arrived at 1:55 p.m. The office was glass and chrome, nothing like Trust's cluttered house full of books and coffee mugs. David Matsumoto was in his 50s, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He shook my hand and gestured to a chair. Thank you for coming, Ms. Vaughn. I know this must be a difficult time. I didn't even know he was sick. He wasn't. Heart attack. Very sudden. He opened a manila folder. Mr. Anderson and I worked together for 15 years. He set up his estate plan 8 years ago, and he was very specific about the conditions. Conditions? He established a trust, the Trust Anderson Memorial Fund. Quite fitting, actually. He smiled slightly. The trust provides you with an income for life. After your death, the remainder goes to the Children's Literacy Foundation. I stared at him. I don't understand. The trust is valued at approximately $2.3 million. You'll receive quarterly disbursements of $23,000 for life. The floor disappeared beneath me. $23,000 every 3 months? Yes. The first payment is available immediately. He slid a document across the desk. But there's something else. Mr. Anderson left this for you. He instructed me to give it to you only when you came to me, not before. He said you'd know when the time was right. He handed me a sealed envelope, cream-colored paper, my name written in Trust's familiar handwriting. He also left this. He placed a small key on the desk. Safe deposit box at Riverside National Bank, Box 847. You're the only authorized person. I picked up the envelope with shaking hands. Can I? Of course. Take your time. I opened it carefully. Inside was a letter, handwritten on Trust's personal stationery, and a photograph. Me at 8 years old, sitting on his porch, holding a book. I read the letter. Dear little star, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And Barbara is already doing exactly what I knew she would do. I'm sorry I couldn't stop this while I was alive. I tried talking to your father. I tried reasoning with Barbara. But some people don't hear reason. They only hear documents. Do you remember that day at Rosie's diner when I told you I'd always watch out for you? I meant it. I've been watching. I know about the jewelry. I know she took everything your mother wanted you to have. I know about the rumors, the isolation, the way your father chose silence over you. What you don't know is that I've been documenting everything for 8 years. The original appraisals for your mother's jewelry are with David. The photos she took for insurance purposes. The will specifically bequeathing those items to you. I also have bank statements showing unusual purchases made on credit cards opened at your father's address. Credit cards tied to your social security number. In the safe deposit box, you'll find your mother's original will with her signature, certified appraisals dated 2 months before her death, photographs of every piece of jewelry, a notarized statement from the appraiser confirming the item's value, credit reports I pulled, showing the fraudulent accounts, bank statements I obtained, legally, through a private investigator, showing Barbara's purchases. I couldn't give you these earlier. You needed to find your own strength first. Your mother knew that. She made me promise not to swoop in and fix everything, just to make sure you had what you needed when you were ready to fight. You are not the disappointment they say you are. You are not irresponsible, confused, or unstable. You are your mother's daughter. Smart, strong, capable. You always have been. The trust will give you financial security. The documents will give you truth. What you do with both is entirely up to you. But know this: you don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them anything. All my love, your old friend who's still watching. Trust, I read it twice, 3 times. Tears blurred the words, but I kept reading. When I finally looked up, David was watching me carefully. Are you all right? I wiped my face. He knew, this whole time he knew. He did, and he spent 8 years building an airtight case. David leaned forward. Ms. Vaughn, with this documentation, you could pursue criminal charges for identity theft and fraud. You could sue for the return of the jewelry or its appraised value. The evidence is overwhelming. What would you do? He was quiet for a moment. I'd give them one chance to make it right. Quietly. If they refuse. He pushed a business card across the desk. Then I'd let the document speak. I went to Riverside National Bank that afternoon. The safe deposit box was exactly where David said it would be. Inside, everything Trust had promised, plus one more thing, a USB drive labeled "For when you're ready." I plugged it into my laptop that night. It was security footage from my father's house. Multiple cameras, multiple angles, time-stamped over 6 years. In one clip, dated April 2019, Barbara was sitting at my father's desk, my credit report open on the computer screen. She picked up the phone and called a credit card company. I could hear every word. Yes, I'd like to open a new account. The name is Celeste Vaughn. I watched 12 clips. 12 separate occasions where Barbara used my information to open accounts, make purchases, forge signatures. My father appeared in 3 of them. He never participated. But he never stopped her either. He just looked the other way. I sat in my apartment for 2 days, thinking. Then I made a decision. I called Barbara's office at 8:47 a.m. on a Thursday. She was a regional manager at Whitmore and Associates, a marketing firm downtown. She loved her job, loved the status, loved the fact that she had 15 people reporting to her. Barbara Vaughn's office. This is Celeste. I need to speak with Barbara. She's in a meeting right now. Tell her it's about the settlement offer. Tell her I'm ready to accept. 3 minutes later, Barbara picked up. Celeste, I'm glad you've finally come to your senses. I want to meet in person, today, to discuss terms. I'm very busy. Your office, 4 p.m. If you want this settled, that's when I'm available. Silence, then. Fine, don't be late. I arrived at Whitmore and Associates at 3:58 p.m. The office was open plan, glass walls everywhere. I could see Barbara at her desk in a corner office talking on the phone. Her assistant tried to stop me. I'm sorry, she's on a call. She's expecting me. I walked straight to her office. 15 people were visible in the surrounding workspace. I'd counted them on the way in. Barbara looked up, annoyed. She gestured for me to wait. I didn't wait. I walked in and closed the door behind me. Celeste, I'm on a call. I placed a folder on her desk. I'm not here to accept your settlement. She hung up the phone. Then why are you here? I'm here to give you a choice. I opened the folder. Inside, copies of the credit reports, bank statements, the security footage screenshots, my mother's will. Barbara's face went pale. That's... Where did you... Trust Anderson left me everything. Documentation going back 8 years. Security footage of you opening accounts in my name, using my social security number, forging applications. That's illegal surveillance. It's footage from my father's home security system, the one you installed, all perfectly legal. Her jaw tightened. What do you want? I want the jewelry, all of it. The pieces appraised at $120,000, the loose gemstones worth $65,000, and the documentation my mother left. I don't have them anymore. Then I want $185,000, today. And I want you to close every fraudulent account you opened in my name and pay off the $85,347 in debt. You're insane. I don't have that kind of money. Then I go to the police, today, with all of this. I gestured to the folder. Identity theft is a federal crime, Barbara. You could go to prison for 10 years. She stood up fast enough that her chair rolled backward. You entitled little, this is extortion. No, this is me offering you a choice. Pay me back or face criminal charges. Your father will never... My father already knows. I sent him copies of everything this morning. Her face flushed red. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, then she made the mistake. You think you're so smart, don't you? Coming in here with your little folder like you've accomplished something? Her voice was rising. People outside were starting to look. You were nothing when I met you. A pathetic little girl who couldn't let go of her dead mother's things. I did you a favor taking that jewelry. You would have just squandered it. So you admit you took it. She froze. I hadn't been recording, but I didn't need to. Because standing outside Barbara's glass office, clearly visible and clearly listening, were her assistant, 3 of her direct reports, and 2 colleagues from the executive suite. Barbara saw them. Her face drained of color. That's not... You're twisting my words. I opened the door. Everyone outside immediately pretended to be busy. Ms. Vaughn? Barbara's assistant was staring at her boss like she'd never seen her before. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, Rachel. I kept my voice calm. Even. Barbara and I were just discussing some family business. Identity theft, fraud, the usual. Rachel's eyes widened. I turned back to Barbara. You have until 5 p.m. tomorrow to transfer $270,347 to my account. That's the jewelry value plus the debt you created. Or I file police reports with every jurisdiction where you committed fraud. Your choice. You can't prove... I pulled out my phone and held up the screen. It showed the security footage, paused on a perfect image of Barbara at the computer. Credit application visible. I have 12 videos like this, time-stamped, dated, with audio. Trust Anderson was very thorough. Her face twisted. He had no right. He had every right to document crimes being committed in his friend's home. I put my phone away. 5 p.m. tomorrow, Barbara, think about it. I walked out. Behind me, I heard Rachel's voice. Did she just say identity theft? And someone else. Her own stepdaughter? And a third voice. Jesus, Barbara, what did you do? I didn't look back. I drove to the cemetery that evening. Trust's grave was near the back, under an oak tree. Fresh flowers were already there, probably from David. I sat down on the grass next to the headstone. Thank you, I said quietly, for watching, for waiting, for trusting me to be ready. The wind moved through the oak branches. It almost sounded like laughter. I got the bank transfer notification at 4:47 p.m. the next day. $270,347 from an account in Barbara's name. 30 minutes later, my father called. Celeste, we need to talk. Do we? Barbara told me what you did, going to her workplace, humiliating her in front of her colleagues. That was cruel. I almost laughed. She stole my identity for 6 years, Dad. She destroyed my credit. She took everything Mom left me. And you let her. I didn't know. Yes, you did. You knew and you chose not to see it, because it was easier. Long silence. I'm your father. Then act like it. My voice cracked. For once in the last 8 years, act like you remember I'm your daughter. Celeste, Barbara quit her job today. Did she tell you that? Her boss asked her to resign after her colleagues reported what they'd overheard. She's under investigation for multiple counts of identity theft. The police might still press charges even though I got my money back. You did this to her? No, Dad. She did this to herself. I just stopped staying silent about it. She's my wife, and I'm your daughter, but you made your choice a long time ago. I hung up. He didn't call back. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment on Westbrook Avenue, updating my Etsy shop. It had grown. I'd hired 2 employees, leased a small warehouse space, and was processing 300 orders a week. The trust income had given me the freedom to build something real, something mine. I'd used part of the settlement money to pay off the fraudulent debt and repair my credit. The rest went into a business account. By October, my online candle shop had expanded into home goods, handmade pottery, woven blankets, artisan soaps. I'd named it Trust and Star Home Goods. On my desk, a framed photo of Trust and me at Rosie's diner, both of us laughing. My father sent me a Christmas card that year. I didn't open it. Barbara moved to Florida in March. I heard she was working retail. I didn't ask for details. Lisa sent me a friend request on social media. I declined. Some people say I should forgive them, that holding on to anger will poison me, but I'm not holding on to anger, I'm holding on to truth. If you're watching this and you've ever been told that speaking up makes you cruel or that protecting yourself makes you the villain, I want you to hear this. Silence isn't peace. Silence is just the price you pay so someone else can stay comfortable. You don't need permission to tell the truth. You don't need permission to walk away. You don't need permission to choose yourself. And if someone makes you choose between your dignity and their comfort, choose your dignity. Every single time. If you've ever had to walk away from family to protect yourself, type, I walked away in the comments. Or if you stayed and fought for your boundaries, type, I stayed and fought. Both are brave. Both are valid. Both take strength most people will never understand. If this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories just like this one. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening.